The urge had totally taken over. The impact on the ground didn't even register. Dean caught up immediately, trying to stop me. He helped me up. "What's wrong?" he asked softly. I had a feeling that if it were anyone else collapsing like this, he'd do the same. He was always quiet in the office, but totally dependable. The more he helped, the more we touched, and the stronger the sensations got. My legs felt like jelly. Waves of pleasure made it impossible to stand steady. I fought to stay silent. If I woke anyone, I'd be done for. Gritting my teeth, I clung to him tightly to pull myself upright. This was the first time I'd ever been this close to a man. I didn't even care that my chest was pressed tightly against him. My hands kept wandering upward until they brushed against his clearly defined abs. In that moment, my mind went almost completely blank. Even so, Dean steadied me and guided me over to a pavilion by the hot springs. When he helped me sit down, I wanted to push him away again, but the repeated waves of overwhelming release had already left me utterly exhausted. Just then, faint moans drifted from a nearby tent. I instantly covered my face with my hands. Oh no. Just when I'd started to calm down, Debbie from accounting and her husband had to show up and ruin it. Dean glanced at me, then pulled me into the bushes nearby. We held our breath as best we could. In the starlight, I saw Debbie and her husband walk right to where I'd been sitting. They didn't waste any time getting started. I felt like I was chained in place, like I might fall apart any second. We watched as her husband moved behind her. Debbie clamped a hand over her mouth, desperately trying to muffle her sounds. My body hadn't even recovered yet, but it was already rebelling again, especially with his scent now burned into my brain. This couldn't go on. In my head, I begged them to finish quickly, but they were clearly in no rush. I felt Dean's warmth fading from me when, out of nowhere, another intense rush hit me. Before I could process it, soft whimpers were escaping my lips. Suddenly, his arm wrapped around me, his hand firmly covering my mouth. I gasped against it as he pulled me fully into his embrace, reigniting everything inside me. "Shh," he whispered, trying to keep me quiet. I nodded weakly, but I was trembling even harder in his arms. Catching my dazed look in the moonlight and remembering that quick glimpse of my soaked lace, he put the pieces together fast. I tried to pull away from him but forced myself to hold still, terrified of being spotted by the couple. Right then, wave after wave crashed over me again, the intensity nearly making me black out. I don't know how long it lasted, but eventually Debbie and her husband from finance wrapped things up and headed back to their tent. Only then did Dean let go of my mouth. I gulped in air, breathing hard. I should have bolted away from him right then, but he was all I could think about. I didn't want to leave, and I didn't have the strength to. "Ruth Singer," he murmured. "Are you wet?" Those words made me jolt out of his arms, but I accidentally brushed against the impressive bulge between his legs. Just that light contact told me how big he was. I stammered in panic. I'm not." Dean's brow furrowed slightly. Without a word, he slid his hand under my skirt. "Really?" he said, his voice low and husky, trailing off softer and softer. His rough fingertips grazed my skin, setting me on fire instantly. I tried to clamp my thighs together, but he gently but firmly parted them. He traced the edge of my lace, and it felt like an electric shock. Every sensation exploded at once. Everything itched with need. Everywhere, but especially there. I squirmed, wanting to get away, yet desperately craving more. My fingers dug into his shirt, clutching for dear life. A soft cry escaped me, my own voice sounding foreign. The devil and angel on my shoulders were at war. Part of me wanted him to take me completely, while the other part kept pushing him away. It was driving me insane. Just then, Dean's fingers slipped beneath my lace.